Hi, welcome to Salted Hash, the show where we talk about security that matters. No FUD, no hype, just a little bit of snark. I'm Famita Rashid, Senior Writer of CSO Online, and here's my colleague, Steve Reagan. Today, we're going to talk about attribution, AI, and legal hacking. Welcome to episode 4, The New Hope. Hey, Steve.
Hi.
So,
how are you?
Feeling very hopeful. How about you?
The puns are strong with this one.
Oh, come on. That's what it's all about, right? Just plowing through, always kind of looking forward to the good news, the silver lining.
So I'd forgotten how short the intro deck was because I thought I'd have enough time to check my expenses before you came back to me. And also I hear you do the New Hope line, and I'm like, that's fantastic. And also you're like, hi, Steve. And I'm like, oh, crap, we're live. Look up at the camera, say hi. It's been one of those days, guys. That's all I'm going to say about that one. Hello, everyone. It's good to see you again.
And it's definitely been one of those days. I mean, all we're hearing about is attacks. We're hearing about breaches. It's just one on top of the other. So I want to ask you, Steve, because this is something I actually wrestle with sometimes, is we always talk about this is what happened, this is how it was done. And then there's a whole group of people who's like, who did it? Who did it? We want to know who did it. And me, I'm sitting here, I'm like, as an enterprise, I don't care. I don't care who did it.
Wow,
Does it matter?
Nah, I mean, attribution matters. We're not going to throw attribution out the window, but I think in the immediate vicinity of incidents, like once you get engaged in incident response and you start working out the problem, attribution is less important than knowing what happened, when it happened, and how it happened.
Right.
Who will come?
You're going
to figure out. Yeah. You're going to figure out who. That's once you start answering these other questions, who is probably going to pop up, because depending on what you're doing, you may have actually seen this type of attack or an act or something before, and what you're experiencing, somebody else in your industry might know of.
Right.
Or
once you expose it, once you're sharing information, somebody be like, oh hey, me, I got that same one.
Yeah, or you're going to be working with a vendor who goes, we had 2 other clients experience this, and oh look, it's a fuzzy a fuzzy koala panda bear from Tasmania.
What is it with those names? Like they're taking all my favorite animals. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, at this point, I don't know what bear's what. I know we have like a couple of pandas. There's a few bears. Right. Here's my thing. Where's the turtle? Can't we get like a threat actor turtle? I mean, if we're going to attribute to something, let's call it, let's just call it, like the prancing turtle.
Don't we have a salamander? I mean, I think they've started reptiles at some point.
Really?
I think
I didn't know I wouldn't be shocked if there was a salamander, but I know there's no turtle, and I'm a little disappointed at that. Also, what about wombats? We have a security vendor named Wombat. So why don't we get a threat actor named Wombat? Would that not be hysterical? Because then...
Oh, the marketing nightmare.
Yes. See, and Wombat Security, if you're listening, I'm sorry. It was a bad joke. But again, it's one of those days. You'll have to forgive me. It's a thing to where, attribution seems to be more marketing in some cases than it does actual value. I don't think your CISO cares who hit you. I think they just want to know how the hell you got hit.
Yeah.
And the fact that, some vendors and some, I'm going to use a very offensive term, I apologize, thought leaders seem to very, they just want to focus on attribution and miss the other stuff. I think you're missing the bigger picture in that regard. I mean, attribution's important, but I think in the short term, what you need to know is, who, what, when, or not the who, but what, when, why.
Yeah.
Why did this attack happen?
Especially the why.
Yeah. Why did this attack happen? When did this attack happen? How did this attack happen? What do we do now? And you focus on those, and then eventually the who's going to spill out. You're probably going to run into it.
I'm
that's
gonna kind
where
of walk back my initial statement where I was saying it doesn't matter who. I think the category is helpful. The category of knowing that, okay, this is an actual financially motivated, this is more idealism motivated. I think knowing the category is helpful in determining some of your response.
It is.
I don't think we need to
me, that falls
down.
under why. So the category would come under why. Why did this happen? It's a financially motivated attack.
Right.
Why did this happen? Somebody wanted plans to your new Gidget Wizmo.
Insider trading.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The insider threat. Beware. We're going to sell you half the seat, but you only need Bob from accounting. So, I mean, don't laugh. Keep a straight face. Remember, we're live. We're on camera. There you go. Bob from accounting says, good job. It's
Thank you, Steve.
Oh, Chris, keep that on film because that was amazing. Just making her laugh at random is just awesome. So, I mean, that's the thing. I think for me, the why does with the style of attack, and that is actually very important. I think that is a type of attack surface that every organization should know. You should know if a financially motivated attack hits your company, what are they likely to target to pull that off? If it is a malicious insider, what's the data that an insider in a given department or whatever, what's most valuable to them? What are they going to steal from you? And there's no reason why you can't make plans to address all of these. I mean, that's just, to me, that seems very smart. Risk assessment, risk management. Know what's what and what's where.
I mean, I get it for the FBI, the law enforcement. They want to know who, and I totally get it. That's their job description. But I think from an enterprise security team,
that's not info.
That's not IT.
Yeah, that's law enforcement. Exactly. They operate on a different plane. In fact, if you're doing your IR right, when law enforcement comes knocking and you give them, the what, the when, the why, the how, and you share all that, law enforcement might look at you and go, oh, well, it's blah, ta-da, attribution. And they may have very good reasons for giving you, that kind of name because they've seen these TTPs before. Right. And so that would make sense. But to just randomly go out and say, oh, I see a Russian IP address, Russia hacked us. No, homie, they didn't. You could just sit down.
Wasn't it a couple years ago, there was all that confusion about some water utility? And it turned out the contractor was on vacation in Russia.
Yeah,
and that's why
he was on vacation in Russia. He checked his email. That tripped all kinds of alarms. And boo, 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 Russia's hacking a water utility. No, they're not. Dude checked his Yahoo account. It's okay. Calm down. Okay. And the thing is, that story blew up. People were just all up in arms over it. It's just no.
Well, see, this is actually a very good lesson. When you're on vacation, don't check your work stuff.
It's easier said than done. I mean, we have that, the end of the year, the little mini vacation thing and stuff. I'm still working. And it's just, I can't not work. It's habit. It's just, but I mean, that's a valid point. I mean, you should know that, Troy from development is on vacation right now. And if Troy's in a hostile area, maybe check in with Troy and just say, hey buddy, did you check your email
still have your stuff with you?
Yeah, it's what are you doing right now? You working? Yeah, okay, great. Just need to check on that. Otherwise, it's no, I haven't left yet. So you're not in Russia right now? No? All
right, that's a problem.
We got a problem. Talk to you later. Click, and you run and scream like everybody else would. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not against attribution. I just don't put a lot of weight on it.
Right.
I would much rather know why, how, when.
And I think attribution is something that's really easy to get wrong. And once it's out there, you get more confusion, more FUD that gets to the point with distraction.
If you screw up the attribution part of an investigation when you're going public on that, you mess that up, you're done.
Yeah.
Nothing you do after that's going to matter because everybody's going to remember that one screw up.
Exactly.
And if you're trying to accuse another company or, God forbid, a nation state, that could be an even bigger mess to deal with.
Exactly. So, I mean, I was actually thinking about this. It's okay, both of us seem to be on the same page. Attribution, valuable, but we care more about why. Now, that kind of makes me wonder, it's not always easy for us sifting through all that information, figuring out who did it, what it is, what I'm looking at. So I'm going to use
Yep.
the most favorite marketing buzzword here. AI.
Ugh.
AI and security. Are we ever going to use AI for attribution?
I hope not.
Why not?
I hope
Isn't
not.
AI the holy grail?
No, because attribution revolves around a subset of incident response called threat intelligence.
Mhm.
And to automate or rely on a machine that doesn't have analytical skills
Or
to
context.
Yeah, context. Context is the principal.
Hmm.
Basically the real big issue here is AI will never have context. So I hope it never goes to that, because if it did, we're all in trouble. We are. I mean, the thing is, trying to get context onto a given piece of information that comes out, when you're running a threat intelligence program, that's hard enough.
Yeah.
Now you got to train a computer to do it? I think not. It's just not going to happen, at least not easily and not anytime soon.
Exactly.
But that won't stop vendors from selling that little silver bullet. That won't stop, again with this offensive term, I'm sorry, thought leaders from talking about it and trying to make it the end all be all of some sort of security life cycle. But I don't know. I don't agree that AI is going to well, I just hope AI doesn't have anything to do with attribution anytime soon.
Use the word hope.
Yeah. Well, I have a new hope for you, and here it is. The fact is, if we have to shift to AI,
Hmm.
I think what we need to do is get better at patterns and context, like building in context around certain patterns.
Okay.
Because what'll happen is, what happens if you get this AI running on your network and suddenly somebody port scanned you behind a proxy in Korea? Are you suddenly going to say South Korea is like attacking you?
I mean,
Because your AI might.
that's
if
kind
it
of
sees-
where the issue is. Like, people
Yeah.
don't really think about, okay, why, who. So here's the thing. We know why it's a terrible idea, but it's going to happen. People are going to keep talking about it. Give me your wish list. I have my personal of how I want AI and security to look like. What is your ideal? Like, what would you like to see security and AI eventually be able to do?
So we talked about this actually on Tech Talk a couple weeks back, and I really like the stuff that Cisco's coming out with. What I want to see AI do is automatically adjust policies
Right.
and other security settings based on the ebb and flow of the network,
Okay.
based on a user's workflow, so that you get your security, but the user's not going to be impeded. They're going to be allowed to do what they need to do when they need to do it, but nothing else.
Hmm.
And frankly, I think that's exactly the way it should be. There should be a constant monitor and a baseline that's being set to where if my job routinely means I have to access this type of data and I have to be on these systems and I have to access these resources, that's what I get access to. But if something changes in my job, the network knows that.
Yeah.
The network is aware of that. It understands that things are dynamic, and so I get moved into a new group, or temporarily I get access to this. And I think that kind of automation is going to be where we see security going.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you, because I think we're part of like the same old world. You remember Eliza, the chatbot?
Wow, yes.
That's what I want to see, AI and security. I want first line of defense being the security Eliza. It handles, did you actually do this password change? Did you actually do it? It does all that first line. And then it said, okay, I have no idea what's going on. I'm going to now escalate you. That's where I want to see AI going. I want Eliza. A smart one.
ThetaCare, I think. Marcus Carey on Twitter, ThetaCare. They actually created this security assistant called Violet. It's
Yes.
almost AI. And I absolutely think small IT shops would totally benefit from that. I think it's just fantastic. The thing that I really got when I watched that demo video of Violet in action was like, she went from Violet, check my firewalls, to we're running like a whole scan to Violet, what is phishing?
Really?
So that means, yeah. So everything, you get this wide gamble or gambit, I should say. You have this nice curve that an experienced administrator can have Violet do some things, but then a novice can ask basic security questions and get answers.
So
Relatable
Violet is
answers.
basically Alexa.
Yeah, kind of Alexa for security, but I
Yeah.
mean, we can't use Alexa. I don't think they can use Alexa. I think that's copywritten. But see, going back to your Eliza thing, though, I mean, the first thing that popped in my head was like, oh, back in my day, we didn't have Cortana. What we had was a confused system.
Damn. The
I mean,
Dropbox actually had a similar tool where they do it on Slack, where they automatically get all the alerts from their like SIM and stuff like that. And they actually release a chatbot on Slack and ping the employee, hey, we just noticed a login attempt. Did you just like write your password in wrong? And the user said on Slack, yes, I did. And the bot's like, okay, good. Closes the ticket. We're done. Or the user's like, no, I haven't tried to log in. All right, now we can escalate.
I like that.
So I see examples of this happening. And I'm really excited about that.
That I can get behind that 100%, because there's nothing wrong with just checking on someone. The only problem is how quickly can that bot respond?
Right.
So let's say that the bot finally gets the notice on the wire, hey, this password failed, but that's because it's just now picking up the first failure because I fat fingered the password, but that's okay. I've already compromised your account. Right. Hey, the bot's talking to me. What's the bot want? What? Really? No, I just messed up my password. Sorry about that. Oh, great, thanks. And then off you go. Now
the timing is definitely critical there.
All about timing in that case, but I still think that's a brilliant idea. Of course, that kind of ties companies to Slack, but I mean that's not necessarily a bad thing.
I mean, I think a lot of companies already are tied to Slack, unfortunately.
You didn't hear that.
No, I didn't.
And Chris could edit this part out, so it's all good.
Damn.
Athena saw the mailman, and therefore it was time to scream at him. Okay. The only thing is, the mailman's like, halfway across the parking lot, like way, way, way over
There's
that way.
There's your timing, right?
Yeah. It's just funny. So I had to mute my mic, and I'm like, Athena, hush. And I looked down at my camera, and I'm like, oh, I'm still talking. Yay. Hush.
Damn. Still?
Oh no! See, the mailman's right there, but now there was a kid walking up the street. I live on a busy street, so like there's people everywhere, and this time of day, the dogs are just like super happy to talk to everyone, especially when Daddy's on the phone.
And Daddy's ignoring them.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to drag us off course. My apologies. But to go back to the AI thing, so one of the things about AI that frankly scares me is I worry about adaptability.
I'm not sure I get that.
All right, so let's say we have AI and it works for like a big enterprise like Ford.
Sure.
Okay. And so the AI knows the AI is running for the production line, the AI is running for like the in-office enterprise and everything like that. Does that AI scale down to a small office like ours at IDG? Would it? Could it? How does it adapt to changes in the environment to where suddenly, the AI was monitoring for 30 people, but we just got bought up, so now it's 30,000. How does that work?
That's true. That's the kind of education for the AI. That's a bit of a shock for that AI.
Yeah, I mean, would that be like a complete culture shock? What happens if you have two AIs at different companies?
A robot having a culture shock. I love it.
But I mean, it's possible. Why? I mean, if we're going to assume AI could run the entire security department, why can't we figure out that it would have culture shock? Because that means my AI is not going to probably play well with your AI. Why is that? I mean, I know I'm kind of dipping into the whole, the movie where the robots, comes to life, AI takes over.
There's so many.
Wow.
You're talking about Skynet?
Yeah, I'm gonna get my geek card. I'll cut that up now.
It's all right.
Yeah, that's.
I'm gonna let you earn it back with my next question. All right, ready? You ready to earn it back?
Yeah.
So this is actually a really common discussion that keeps happening on security Twitter. So we're gonna talk about legal hacking. Are companies allowed to hack back? Are companies allowed to say, hey, you attacked me, so I'm going to do something? And I mean, the reason I'm bringing it up is the Daily Beast recently did a story about how companies are already doing it. And I remember Jack Daniel basically being like, why is anyone surprised? This is reality.
So I'm not surprised to find out that there are companies that are hacking back. But I think when you use the term hackback, there are a lot of
There's a lot of
so
meanings.
yeah, there's a lot of meanings and there's a lot of open interpretation. Like, some of these companies that are hacking back aren't really hacking anything. They're, I talked to one company who reflected packets one time. And I'm
Oh,
like, that's great and all, but how do you know that the person attacking you wasn't actually using a victim's computer?
right. How do you
So
know it's not a zombie in a botnet?
yeah, you just re-victimized another victim. Congratulations. I mean, you defended your network. Woohoo. But you have to be really careful, and I don't agree with it. I don't think. Well, so no, let me rephrase. I don't agree with it for everybody. I think if you're going to do it, you need to be absolutely clear about what you're doing.
So
and
basically
the idea,
creating parameters on what's allowed, what's not.
Yep. And the idea of having kind of like a letter of marque from the FBI stating, here's here's the scope of what you're allowed to retaliate with.
Didn't we just talk about how we shouldn't have scope?
No. So we're talking about scope on pen test engagements. And that's absolutely correct. I don't believe you should have scope at all if you're going to do red team engagements. But, that's kind of where I come from. So naturally, that is my line of thought. But when it comes to like scope for hacking back, absolutely. For example, if it's determined that your target's a medical center of any type, I think that should be off limits.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So then where do we draw the line for like schools? See, these are things that we have to iron out.
So we have minors, we have, okay.
So if you want to have these type of engagements, you want to make that legal, that's fine. But if it's not narrowly defined to where you know what, when, where, why, and how, you shouldn't do it. If you
this is actually one of those areas where if an InfoSec team decides they want to hack back, they need to be talking to their corporate lawyers.
Oh, absolutely. If legal's not involved in this decision, you're already starting off on the wrong foot because, again, and also, this is why I say you have to have some sort of like, and I use a term, but I mean, it could be whatever, a letter or marquee from the FBI, because the fact of the matter is, according to our own laws here in this country, the minute you go to take action, you're technically committing a crime.
Even if it's within your network?
Doesn't matter. Well, if it's within your own network, but the thing is, we're not talking about hacking back within your own network. Anybody who's using hacking back, they're talking about going after
following the trail and
following the trail, following the money. Oh, that's that guy's CNC server. Let me just take it down real quick because it's vulnerable to this or vulnerable to that, or let me knock it offline with a few packets of my own. All of those are crimes.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how well intentioned. All of those are crimes, and so that's a thing that the companies have to be very cognizant of, and they would absolutely need to have a lawyer for.
And I guess that's why it's like, even if it's something that companies are doing, we just hear so little about it. I mean, what company wants to admit that they're engaging in the same tactics?
None. Exactly. Absolutely none. Especially if engaging in those kind of tactics opens them up for further attack, and that's another problem with this. If you go to attack
like retaliation?
Somebody, oh yeah, but it's cross contamination. So imagine you decide you're going to hack back and you track everything back to me. So you're coming out and you attack me. The thing was, I was a victim in the first place, but I see you attacking me and I'm like, oh hell no. And so I start coming after you.
Right.
So now you've got this feedback loop almost, and that's chaos.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You absolutely do not want that. You have to be certain. And the problem is, in our world, there is no certainty.
I mean, that kind of goes back to what we were talking about with attribution. Like, if you don't actually know who it is, it's really hard to say with definite certainty that, nope, I did not make a mistake. This is really you.
Yep. And, of course, you get the other thing, like, what happens if, like, you go to respond and you get it completely wrong? And then that person responds back, and going back to that feed loop thing I was talking about, but then come to find out that, you were right all along. Because, they really were attacking you. Now what? What do you do there? How would you handle that situation?
Right.
It's so new that, these types of hypotheticals, no matter how absurd they may sound, these are things that absolutely could happen because we don't know where the limits are on this. I think the hackback is very risky, but like Jack said, it's very real and it does happen.
Yeah. And I mean, it's one of those where I think we're also just figuring it out, whether it's what's on the law what the law said, what our company like lawyers are even comfortable with. It's just a lot of things we're just still figuring out. So thanks for tuning in. Next time we'll talk about more stuff in security. And remember, the salt and salted hash is something you know.